Hello and welcome to Clearview Television News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, federal government calls on French investors to take advantage of enabling environment in Nigeria to invest and grow their businesses. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu restates calls for legalization of cannabis cultivation in Nigeria to enable the country to tap from its potential impact on economic growth. U.S. President Donald Trump halts retaliatory military strikes against Iran following the shooting down of a U.S. spy drone. I am Rose Audu with the details of these and more. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked state governors to give priority attention to 4 critical areas, namely security, agriculture, health, and education in the next 4 years of the current dispensation. The president gave the charge on Thursday at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja, while inaugurating the National Economic Council chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. President Buhari emphasized the need for the state chief executives to enforce statutory provisions on free and compulsory education, noting that it is a crime for any parent to keep his child out of school. He also urged the governors to put in place the necessary infrastructure needed to improve the quality of education in their states. And renewed security threats in parts of the country, President Buhari called for active citizenship involvement in efforts to effectively secure the country. The National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, and the Anambra State Governor later briefed State House correspondents on the security situation and what is being done to tackle the challenges.
I briefed Council on the situation in the Northeast, particularly the activities of the Boko Haram terrorists, which continues to remain very, very fragile. It is still a problem that needs to be readdressed with the collective effort of both intelligence and operations. In the meantime, troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force have been conducting offensive operations against these elements in the Lake Chad area, especially the Islamic State West Africa province, whose activity has now stretched all the way down into the Lake Chad area. I also briefed Council on the activities of armed bandits, elements which have gradually entrenched themselves in the landscape. I also told Council that the activities of these armed bandits gradually replaced terrorism, which was the primary national security threat. Now the activities of these bandits in the Northwest have become the main threat to national security.
And as you are aware, the general crime situation in the country is touching on kidnapping, banditry, cultism, and armed robbery, and the spread. Kidnapping is mostly prevalent, as we said, in the northwestern part of the country, and murder as a result of banditry. And then in the southern, north central part of the country, we also have kidnappings, and then the southwest, we have issue of cultism and some pockets of kidnapping. Then we have in the southeast cultism, southeast cultism, and some elements of kidnappings here and there. So the general security situation in the country, as we observe and the council observed, is such that the situation is being stabilized now as against some months back. Even the issue of insurgency was also discussed. And the progress we got in taming the security situation was as a result of some of the strategies in terms of liaising and cooperating with members of the public. it was as a result of human intelligence that we got from the members of the public that made us achieve the feat in stabilizing the security situation in the country.
Anambra State, if you will, is pioneering some activity in the CCTV area. About 6 months ago, I visited the VGRC. VGRC is a company in Boston that manufactured the CCTV that was used to discover eventually the guys that did the Boston bombing, if you remember. You know, and we purchased quite some of the equipment. They have a brain, and it's uploaded real time to the iCloud. So only authorized people with the passwords can access most of the equipment at the places they are located. Each eye will see 3 football fields. They have 2 eyes, 3 football fields, and they are real time. Whether you have light or not, they will pick you at over 26 pixels, so you'll be very clearly seen. You know, these things will use solar, so you don't have to burn diesel. The ones in the US were diesel-based, so they have to manufacture the Anambra one using solar because of the cost effectiveness of solar. You know, so I believe that this will go a long way in really peeling this down with effect to addressing petty crime, all kinds of criminality, and you can go back down memory lane if you know the date it happened to really access who did what in what circumstance. It will also help in convictions at the courts.
The National Economic Council is a high-level decision-making forum which has a constitutional mandate to advise the President on economic matters as well as coordinate economic policies and programs of government at all levels. District head of Yankaba community of Kaura Namoda local government area of Zamfara state, Buhari Amani, 3 of his wives and 4 other men were abducted and 1 person killed this Friday by suspected bandits. According to the chairman of Kaura Namoda local government, Lawal Abdullahi, the bandits invaded the community at 1 a.m. and kidnapped 8 persons comprising 3 women and 5 men. 3 wives of the district head of Yankaba community who were abducted were Jomai, Asmau and Lami Buhari. The local government chairman said before security operatives were mobilized to the community, the bandits have gone with the kidnapped persons. He, however, called on the authority concerned to step up efforts towards ending the security situation, which is ravaging most communities in Zamfara state. Abdullahi said the situation is frightening as it is displacing several citizens of the state and preventing them from farming, which is their source of livelihood. Commissioner of Police, Zamfara State Command, Usman Nagogo, has identified amicable resolution as one of the viable ways of addressing the present security challenges confronting the state. He made the submission during a meeting with Civilian Joint Task Force and vigilantes in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital. Our correspondent, Aniete Patrick, has more.
The Zamfara state government and the security agencies have continued to find lasting solutions to the lingering and escalating insecurity in the state. This informed the meeting between the Commissioner of Police, Civilian Joint Task Force and JTF vigilantes to discuss ways of addressing the menace of banditry, kidnapping and cattle rustling in the state. The Commissioner of Police, Usman Nagogo, appealed to citizens of the state to avoid taking the law into their hands as efforts are being made by security agencies to resolve the problem amicably. The security advisor to Zamfara State Governor Abubakar Dauran assured people that the state government is working round the clock to bring an end to prevailing security situation.
That's the issue that we want to tackle, and that's what the Commissioner of Police wants to do. That's why it's all on them to come and at least obey the law and order, so that at least the rest will be a peaceful place.
Secretary of the Civilian Joint Task Force JTF, Sani Labaron, however, lamented lack of prompt response of security agents whenever incidents of attacks are being reported. The Civilian Joint Task Force and vigilantes have expressed their readiness to cooperate with security agencies towards achieving lasting solution in the state. Anita Patrick reporting for Clearview Television.
An 18-year-old girl identified as Favor Ogenereho, kidnapped by suspected ritualists, has been found dead in a Ghana Moscow bag, with her pubic hair shaved. The incident happened at Abraka, Ethiopia East Council area of Delta State. The victim's remains were found at the dump site behind Ozoro Park in the town. Witnesses said there were violent marks around her neck area, indicating that she was violently strangulated. Recounting the incident leading to the teenager's demise, Maureen Sunday, her elder sister, told the police that Favor had received a call from a male at about 10 a.m. requesting that she meet him at the Abraka Park. She, however, replied the caller that she was going to the market with her elder sister. Miss Sunday added that on their way out of their residence located along Winners Road, a young man whom she had never seen before, whom she believed was the same person that called her sister earlier, stopped at the junction and approached them. A short conversation ensued between them, and Favor joined him on the bike and they rode off. When contacted, the Delta State Police Commissioner, Adeyinka Adeleke, it was a case of murder. The police boss also revealed that the suspected killer, who is believed to be Favor's boyfriend, was on the run. The Secretary General of the Arewa Consultative Forum, Anthony Sani, has charged the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, to strengthen the capacity of the troops fighting Boko Haram terrorists. Reacting to Buratai's recent statements to the effect that lack of commitment by troops was responsible for the frequent attacks by the terrorists, Sani noted that, as the man on the helms of affairs, the army chief should know why soldiers are not committed to the fight against the terrorists. Buratai was quoted to have said the rise in terrorist attacks were due to lack of willingness by troops to perform assigned tasks. But in a telephone interview in Kaduna yesterday, Sani said, as the helmsman of the Nigerian army, Buratai should be in a position to know the reasons behind the apathy among troops and strengthen their capacity. Sani noted that Buratai's comments are quite worrisome and a call for concern, saying, for the Chief of Army Staff to raise this kind of observation that the troops lack commitment and willingness to prosecute the campaigns against the insurgents is therefore a source of concern. Sani noted that knowledge of the underlying causes of the perceived apathy will go a long way in removing the challenges and spawn a well-motivated and ready troops needed to put an end to the unsavory activities of the sets. Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps Boboye Oyeyemi has directed a nationwide clampdown on motorcycles and tricycles without number plates with effect from August 1, 2019. Oyeyemi gave the directive in a new statement signed by BC Kazim, Corps Public Education Officer in Abuja on Thursday. He said the warning was as a result of the difficulty encountered in identifying such category of vehicles when used to commit traffic and criminal offenses. Motorcycles and tricycles without number plates are believed not to be captured in the National Vehicle Database, hence, in the event of a crash or crime, cannot be traced, he said. According to him, the National Road Traffic Regulations 2012 was made pursuant to Section 5, Paragraph E of the FRSC Establishment Act 2007, adding it specifies the type of identification number plates for all categories of vehicles, including motorcycles, tricycles, and omnibus. Oyeyemi said. Regulations 8(1)A and 1B also states that a vehicle may be registered in any one of the following categories: motorcycles or tricycles, noting that it shall be an offense for any vehicle not to have the said identification number plates. He advised the public to desist from patronizing motorcycles and tricycles without number plates, as they stand the risk of being abandoned in times of crash or crime. Barely 24 hours after being employed, a male domestic staff, Joseph Obu, has been arrested for killing his employer, John Oreolua, and her 89-year-old mother at number 4 Ogulano Drive, Surulere area of Lagos. The 22-year-old suspect, who was employed June 18, had allegedly stabbed his boss to death with a kitchen knife on Wednesday night. Ogbu, an indigene of Benue State, alleged that the aged mother of his employer, who heard her daughter screaming for help before she gave up the ghost, also slumped and died after she found the lifeless body of her daughter. Sources said that Oreolua had asked the suspect to clean the house at about 9 p.m. on Wednesday when an argument ensued between the two, resulting in her being stabbed. After the killing, the suspect attempted to escape with a Toyota Camry car, phones, television set, jewelries, and other valuables of the deceased persons. However, luck ran out on him when policemen on patrol at Ogunlano intercepted him and recovered the vehicle and other stolen items from him. Confirming the arrest of the suspect, the Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Elkanah Bala said the suspect confessed to the crime. In his statement, he averred that his employer asked him to clean the house at about 9 p.m. of June 19, 2019. But an argument ensued between them, which prompted him to stab her with a knife. He said the shock of her dead body made her aged mother to slump and die. Bala further stated that the Commissioner of Police, Zubairu Mauzu, has ordered the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, Yaba, to take over the investigation and charge the suspect to court. A man who claimed to be a pastor has narrated how he killed a 25-year-old housewife for money rituals 4 months after they met on Facebook. The police accused Dotun Okunlade of strangling Bosede Oguntade in Igbo Ora in Ibarapa local government area of Oyo State. He had invited her over from Ilorin in Kwara State. The suspect narrated to journalists while he was paraded on Thursday at the state police headquarters in Ibadan how he met and killed the woman. He said they had been chatting on Facebook since January this year before he invited her to Igbo Ora. Dotun explained prior to inviting her to Iwara, his friend, simply identified as Mutu, had already told him about his challenges. He disclosed that when the woman later arrived from Ilorin, he picked her to his house in Obuora. You're still watching Clearview Television News. The news will continue shortly after this timeout. Stay with us.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Kotonkapri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly. And as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for a doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breach. It was already in labor, so she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy. Baby was sick too. He said, "I've been sick for me. Only picking, land and way. So, once it told you me, mo gba ko bo lọ́wọ́ mi. Èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà. Kò sí problem. Wọ́n attend mi gidigidi. Wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o. Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Nurse àti doctor, Ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o. Kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yaya Bello. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ o. Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o. Wájú ní wọn lọ. Kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o. Ó ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o. In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program. And we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure. And we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
Welcome back. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has told French investors that Nigeria is open for business and is inviting them to take advantage of the enabling environment in the country to do business. Osinbajo gave the assurance during a dinner cocktail organized in Abuja by the Nigerian Embassy in France as part of activities for the ongoing 3-day Nigerian-France Business and Investment Forum. He told already existing French companies and the French business delegates who were on a fact-finding mission that the government was committed to ensuring that their businesses thrive in the country. He assured the investors that the Nigerian government would assist them work through any of the difficulties that they may encounter as quickly as possible. The Vice President commended the Nigerian ambassador to France, Modupe Erele, for putting up the thoughtful event, saying that it would help boost and diversify Nigeria's economy. He appreciated Guillaume de Cadrel, the deputy head of Mission Embassy of France in Nigeria, who he described as a gem in smoothing the relationship between France and Nigeria. Also, Yewande Sadiku, Executive Secretary, Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, said that in line with the forum's theme, From Talk to Action, NIPC, hoped more French investors would key into opportunities in Nigeria. Sadiku said that the NIPC hoped that in 1 or 2 years from now, it would see tangible evidences from all the discussions at the forum to demonstrate that things had truly moved from talk to action. Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, has again called for the legalization of cannabis cultivation in Nigeria to tap from its potential impact on economic growth. Akeredolu, who spoke while playing host to the Acting Assistant Comptroller General of the Nigerian Prison Service, Benson Oluwa Yokpese in Akure, said the plant had both its health and economic benefits which could only be harnessed if it was cultivated. He also explained that when the oil of cannabis is extracted, it could be used to cure many chronic illnesses, stressing that the country stands to gain a lot from the potential of the plant. According to Akeredolu, there is a need for more research on the medicinal use of cannabis for the benefit of mankind and improvement of the country's economy. He said Nigeria stands to gain billions of dollars like other countries from the proposed legal and controlled cultivation of cannabis. In May 2019, Governor Akeredolu traveled to Thailand to study the medicinal use of cannabis as part of the measures to diversify the state's economy. Responding, Oluwa Yokpese said he was in Ondo on the tour of how to grow commercial cannabis. According to him, Ondo State was chosen for the studied hall because of its novel and innovative intention towards legalized and controlled cannabis cultivation for medicinal and economic benefits. The prison boss noted that Canada, Uruguay, America, and many other countries had already legalized cannabis cultivation for medicinal purposes and economic benefits. He stressed that if the cultivation of cannabis was legalized at the national level, it would help in improving the economy. The All Progressives Congress APC has condemned what it called the charade being presented as the inauguration of new state houses of assembly in Edo and Bauchi states. To this end, the party therefore called on the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, and his counterpart in Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, to urgently do the needful by issuing a proper letter of proclamation to allow for the lawful inauguration of the respective State House of Assembly and subsequent election of presiding officers in a transparent manner. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Malam Lanre Issa Onilu, in a statement Friday said the national leadership of the party viewed this illegality with shock and disappointment. The party said that the actors in the inauguration sham in Edo and Bauchi states needed to be reminded of the recent and widely commended election of presiding officers in the newly inaugurated 9th National Assembly, adding that the ruling party has set new standards in party politics by upstaging the rule of force. While upholding the rule of law, the party restated that every elected lawmaker has a legitimate right to participate unhindered in the inauguration of the legislative arm in which he belongs, saying that the plan to twist the majority in favor of the minority in the legislative arm died with the defeat of the PDP in 2015. The leadership of the Edo State House of Assembly has thwarted the stance of the National Publicity Secretary of All Progressives Congress, Malam Lanre Issa Onilu, on the recent election of the House leadership, insisting that the party lacks powers to adjudicate on election of House leadership. In a statement issued on Friday in Benin City, Speaker of the Edo House of Assembly, Right Honorable Frank Okie, declared that the All Progressives Congress lacks the powers to adjudicate on constitutional functions of the legislature. Okie quoted the APC Publicity Secretary as saying in the newspaper publication, "It is not every issue that the national leadership respond to. That is why we have structure. You can relate to the APC in the state. I can't respond to that. We have structure. It has not gotten to what the media was trying to make it look like." He queried why in about 48 hours Issa Onilu's stance dramatically changed. The speaker emphasized that the National Publicity Secretary of the APC or the national leadership of the party is not in a position to adjudicate on the legality or lack thereof of the emergence of the Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, nor that they lack the capacity to disparage an issue that is already cast in law. The Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has approved a 9 billion naira contract for the construction of integrated drainage system to address flooding in parts of government reservation area in Benin City, the state capital, which kicks off in 2 weeks' time. Commissioner for Communication and Orientation Paul Ohombamu disclosed this after the weekly State Executive Council meeting presided over by Governor Godwin Obaseki at Government House, Benin City. Ohombamu said among issues discussed at the ESCO meeting was the commencement of the 9 billion naira drainage project to channel flood water through the Giapiono axis of GRA, Benin City. He said the project forms part of the Obaseki-led administration's commitment to deepen infrastructural development in the state. Ohombamu noted that the ESCO enjoined residents of the state to desist from indiscriminate dumping of refuse, especially during raining season, so as to avoid flood disaster. The commissioner added that the state government also tasked Edo people to remain peaceful and conduct themselves responsibly as law-abiding citizens. The People's Democratic Party on Thursday described the current situation in Nigeria as precarious, saying Nigerians were in distress. The party's national chairman, Uche Secondus, stated this in his speech at the PDP 86th National Executive Committee meeting held in Abuja. He claimed that Nigerians had been degraded and were no longer proud of their country. He noted that rather than abating, the nation's security situation was getting worse daily. According to him, the hopelessness in the security situation is underlined in the statement of the military hierarchy early in the week that the morale of soldiers were low while Boko Haram incursions had continued. The PDP chairman also alleged that the election of the National Assembly leaders was characterized by corruption. Secondus expressed the disappointment of the PDP over what he called the embarrassing roles of some of its members at the National Assembly during the election of their leaders. He said party loyalty demanded that members should stick to the party at any given situation. The party chairman also warned the present administration against blackmail. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma. Secondus also faulted Buhari's June 12 speech, saying that it failed to advance any pragmatic solution to the myriads of problems facing the country. He said the reports of the international observers on the 2019 general election vindicated the PDP's position that the elections were rigged in favor of the APC. The former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Olisa Metu, has told the Federal High Court in Abuja that the 400 million naira project fund in which he is standing trial was paid to him by former President Goodluck Jonathan and not the former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired. Metu informed the court that the money, which led to his arraignment by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on money laundering charges, was paid to him by Jonathan to execute some national assignment for the federal government. The former spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, gave the evidence on behalf of his company, Destra Investment Limited, which is the second defendant in the suit, and the account where the 400 million naira was paid into. Metu said the money wouldn't have been unlawful because it came from the then president. He, however, dismissed allegations that the money was channeled to him through Dasuki and that he is not aware of any criminal charge against Dasuki. Metu insisted that the money was paid in him for specific purposes and disbursed to those who executed the purposes as directed by the then president, adding that he later submitted details of the disbursement to the president. He, however, dismissed the insinuation that the 400 million naira was meant to fund the PDP, adding that at the period the PDP was rich to the tune of 33 billion naira, with 12 billion naira generated from sales of nomination forms and 21 billion naira raked from fundraising. Justice Okon Abang therefore adjourned trial to June 24 for cross-examination. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has ordered a fresh Congress to elect new officers for its Kogi State chapter. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Kola Ologbadiyan, made this known in Lokoja on Friday. Ologbadiyan said that the decision to hold the Congress was due to the fact that the tenure of the present state officers were come to an end on July 22nd. He, however, said that the Congress will not hold at local government and ward levels of the party. The PDP spokesperson said that a date and guidelines for the governorship primaries of the Congress will be announced in due course. He also confirmed that the fee of the governorship nomination form of the party had been increased from 5 million naira to 10 million naira. Ologbadiyan urged all aspirants to guard against misconduct and utterances that are capable of negatively affecting the chances of the party in the November 16 governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State yesterday made a donation of 10 million naira to supplement the feeding of the 2,200 National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) members deployed in the state for the period of their stay in the orientation camp. Obiano, who made a donation through the state head of service, Harry Udu, while declaring open the 2019 Batch B orientation at Umuya Temporary Orientation Camp, assured of the state government's continued support to the NYSC scheme. The governor urged the corps members to take advantage of the numerous youth-friendly policies and the conducive environment in the state to build prosperity for themselves and the nation. In his speech, a state coordinator of NYSC, Kehinde Aremu, said they were looking forward to moving to the permanent site, looking at the commitment and body language of the governor. "I'm not in doubt that the camp will be ready by August this year," he added. He commended the NYSC management and staff for curtailing the excesses of corps members, particularly with respect to embarking on unnecessary journeys outside the state during their service year. The governor, however, urged them to exercise more patience with his administration towards the completion of the permanent orientation camp in the state, assuring that the new orientation camp would be ready by August this year. The Nigeria Institute of Food Science and Technology commended President Muhammadu Buhari on the passage of the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology Bill by the National Assembly after many years of delay. The commendation was contained in a communique at the end of a two-day Region Food Summit and NIFST Day celebration organized by the Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology (FCT) chapter, with the theme "Promoting Food Safety in Nigeria by the Control of Mycotoxins in the Food Supply Chain." Clearview TV's Magdalene Michael was there and reports.
President of NIFEST Oluwole Toye called for the presidential assent to the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology Bill, which he said will enhance product acceptability in international markets and a safer state.
The Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology commends, appreciates our President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, for the passage of the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology Bill by the National Assembly after many years of delay. This bill was a presidential bill. It was sent to the National Assembly by our president, and we rejoice with him as participants in the eventual receipt of this bill, because when this bill, when signed into law, it will regulate the training and practice of the profession of food science and technology in Nigeria.
Among other recommendations made by the President is the need to enhance acceptability of foods in the international markets, which will also lead to producing foods that are nutritious, wholesome, and safe for local consumption.
A national system for prevention and removal of moldy and diseased grain crops with commercial mechanized drying and blanching systems will significantly reduce aflatoxin and other mycotoxins consumed in Nigeria. Inclusion of food safety in school curriculum, especially at post-primary levels, will help to reduce consumption at the domestic level.
Presenting a paper on policy development for promoting food safety in Nigeria, challenges and prospects, Dr. John Teshe spoke on the need for a food safer laws in Nigeria.
Now, this bill also streamlines the functions and powers of institutions that are responsible for controlling and managing food safety. So unlike before, where our functions and mandates overlap, this new bill has streamlined. It covers from farm to table. Every part of the food supply chain is covered in a single stream.
The summit drew participants from the academia, private and public sector, representative of the National Assembly, amongst others. Magdalene Michael reporting for Clearview Television.
The federal government has commenced clampdown on illegal roadside dealers of liquefied petroleum gas (LPG), popularly known as cooking gas. Officers of Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR), in conjunction with Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC), flagged off the enforcement in Abuja and environs, arresting 5 illegal operators with the aim of curbing the illegal activities of LPG retailers and skid operators. The areas visited by the team included Galadimawa, Lokogoma Aziz, particularly Sunnyvale Estate, and other suburbs within the city, where the team clamped down on illegal operators found dispensing gas in very dangerous circumstances without necessary safety precautions. The government last month announced the commencement of a policy to remove ownership of LPG cylinders from consumers, while dealers would be barred from refilling gas cylinders by the roadside and other unauthorized places. The policy, the government said, would require that ownership of the cylinders rests solely with dealers and distributors. Speaking during the enforcement campaign, head of gas DPR, Engineer Omar Gwandu, said most of the illegal outlets lacked basic and standard minimum requirements like fire extinguishers and detectors, water sprinkler, temperature gauge, pressure and volume gauge, among others. You're still watching Clearview Television News. The news will continue after this timeout.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
Welcome back. And on the foreign scene, a summit of 28 European Union leaders has ended without an agreement on who should take on the bloc's top jobs. The talks held in Brussels continued until the early hours of Friday morning without final agreement on candidates. Apart from failing to reach a consensus, the EU leaders were also trying to decide what issues the Union should consider as priorities over the next 5 years. A new summit will now be held on June 30, just 2 days before a key meeting of the European Parliament. All of the bloc's top jobs are changing hands this year, following European-wide elections in May. Tense differences are said to have emerged over the successors for the key roles. After Thursday's summit, European Council's President Donald Tusk confirmed a new summit was necessary. The most powerful role being decided is EU Commission President, held by ex-Luxembourg Prime Minister Jean-Claude Juncker since 2014. The European Commission drafts EU laws, oversees national budgets, enforces EU treaties, and negotiates international trade deals. President Xi Jinping of China this Friday ended his 2-day state visit to North Korea. A week before he meets U.S. President Donald Trump at G20. At their meeting, the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un hailed his country's invincible ties with China. Belgium is Pyongyang's closest ally, but their relationship has been strained by North Korea's nuclear program and China's support of UN sanctions. North Korean state media agency KCNA covered Xi's highly symbolic visit prominently on Friday. It noted that at a time when serious and complicated changes are happening in international and regional situations, the two leaders had shared their views on important and regional matters, including the situation of the Korean Peninsula. The news agency quoted Kim as saying that the talks were an important opportunity for the two allies to demonstrate their invincible and unchangeable friendship. The Chinese president had on Thursday evening been honored with a special performance of North Korea's mass games featuring tens of thousands of people depicting scenes from Korean culture and history with synchronized movements. President Donald Trump approved retaliatory military strikes against Iran on Thursday before changing his mind. U.S. media reported White House officials as saying the strikes were planned against a handful of targets. An unnamed senior administration official said planes were in the air and ships were in position, but no missiles had been fired when word came to stand down. They say the operation was allegedly underway in its early stages when Trump stood down the U.S. military action. The White House has so far made no comment, even as this comes after Iran shot down a U.S. spy drone. Tehran says the unmanned U.S. aircraft entered Iranian airspace early on Thursday morning. The U.S. maintains it was shot down in international airspace. Tensions have been escalating between the two countries, with the U.S. recently blaming Iran for attacks on oil tankers operating in the region. Iran has announced it will soon exceed international agreed limits on its nuclear program. Last year, the U.S. unilaterally pulled out of a 2015 nuclear deal aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear activities. Thousands of people in Hong Kong have surrounded police headquarters, calling for the scrapping of the controversial extradition bill. Early on Friday, people gathered outside the Legislative Council complex or government headquarters, but then moved to surround police headquarters. The protest comes a day after the government ignored a deadline set by a group of students from various universities in Hong Kong, calling for the bill to be completely scrapped. Police have asked the protesters to withdraw peacefully, saying their presence would seriously affect emergency services. Millions of people have marched against the bill in recent weeks, with violent clashes breaking out with police. The bill, which allows extradition to mainland China, has already been suspended. Critics say it would erode the judicial independence of Hong Kong, which has been part of China since 1997 under the one country, two systems principle. At least 44 people have been killed in India after a bus plunged into a gorge. Officials say dozens more were injured in the accident on Thursday in the Kulu district of Himachal Pradesh, a mountainous northern state. At least 60 people were on board when the packed bus veered off the road. Some passengers had been on the vehicle's roof. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted that he was deeply saddened. The bus rolled off the road at a sharp and steep bend, then fell into a deep ravine. Officials initially said at least 25 people had been killed. They then revised the figure, saying 19 more had died of their injuries. Pictures from the scene showed the bus lying crumpled beside a stream and a human chain of volunteers helping the survivors. Kolo Police Chief Shalini Agihotri said many of the victims were women and children returning from work and school. Road accidents are a frequent occurrence in India, with Himachal Pradesh state recording more than 30,000 between 2009 and 2018. More than 11,000 people were killed and around 54,000 injured there during that period. You're still watching Clearview Television News. Next is the sports news with Tolulokbe Oguntimi. Stay with us.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal.
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Oguntimehin Tolulakpo Oguntimehin. Coach Thomas Zenabe says his charges will take the game right to the Germans in Saturday's World Cup round of 16 clash at the Stade des Harps in Grenoble. The Falcons defeated Korea Republic 2-0 there in their second match of the group phase on 12 June, and there's talk of goodwill to still take as they return there to confront the more famous Germans. Germany lashed the Falcons 4-0 in a group phase match at the inaugural FIFA Women's World Cup Finals in China 28 years ago, and then pipped Nigeria 1-0 in another group phase match at the tournament hosted by the Germans 8 years ago. Yet after they qualify as the last team in the round of 16 on Thursday night, the Navy assured the African champions will not be at the Stades des Alps to admire the boasts of the more illustrious opponent, Germany. Germany contested in the Group B of the championship, defeating China and Spain by the odd goal before hammering African representatives South Africa 4-0. They amassed all 9 points without blinking and have a different pedigree from the Super Falcons as they are as far as history and France 2019 are concerned. Nigeria lost their opening match 0-3 to Norway in Rennes before snatching all 3 points from Korea Republic and losing 0-1 in late penalty to host nation France in Rennes. The German women coach Martina Voss-Tecklenburg says she is expecting a tough battle against Nigeria in the round of 16 in Grenoble on Saturday. Having led her side to the knockout run, the 51-year-old coach is high in maximum points against the African Dye National League, won all their group stage matches, which were against Spain, China and South Africa to finish top of Group B. On the other hand, the Super Falcons reached the 16 round with just 1 group stage win and 2 defeats. Saturday's match will be the 5th between the two nations and the 3rd at the Women's World Cup, with the Germans claiming victories in all their last 4 meetings. Despite being wary of the Africans, the 51-year-old coach is aiming to get aside to another triumph over Thomas Zenabe's side. We know that Nigeria is a strong team, which they have proven in the group stage, Martina Voss-Tecklenburg told media. They have had a difficult start into the tournament, losing 3-0 against Norway, but they have shown what they are capable of, especially in the last game against France, where they were maybe a little bit unlucky to lose 1-0. A rule that states goalkeeper at the 2019 Women's World Cup must be cautioned for encroachment at penalties has been suspended for shootouts. Under new guidelines, keepers at this tournament are booked if they come off the line prior to a penalty kick. So far, 3 players have been shown yellow cards for breaking the rule, but football's lawmakers say having it in place for the penalty shootout risks unfairly distorting the outcome if a goalkeeper is sent off. The request for the temporary suspension of the law, which will remain in place for the remainder of the tournament, was made by FIFA to the International Football Association Board in explaining their decision to approve the request. IFAB accepted that the presence of VAR greatly increases the likelihood of any offense being dictated, and as goalkeepers are likely to face a number of kicks during a shootout, there is a higher risk that a goalkeeper will be sent off for receiving a second caution if already cautioned in normal time. Goalkeepers can still be booked for coming off their line if a penalty is awarded during normal and extra time. Nigeria will begin their quest for a 4th African title in senior men's football when the Super Eagles take to the field against the Intambaru Mugamba of Burundi at the 20,000 capacity Alexander Stadium on Saturday evening. Burundi is making its first ever appearance at the African football's top table, while the Egypt 2019 is Nigeria's 18th attempt, with 3 titles, 4 silver medals and 5 bronze medals to show for our effort. Built to also slug it out with Guinea and Madagascar on the green in the Group B of the 32nd African Cup of Nations before the table of the knockout rounds, the Super Eagles know they must work hard to a great start to the campaign by taking out the 3 points off Burundi, and Captain Mikel John Obi said that there is no reason to pull punches. After lifting a 3rd title in South Africa in 2013, Nigeria failed to qualify for the 2015 finals in Equatorial Guinea and the 2017 finals in Gabon, but made sure of the ticket to Egypt with a match to spare after beating Seychelles away, back-to-back wins over Libya, and a score draw in South Africa. Nigeria jumped to the summit of Group B at the African Beach Games following Thursday's 29-2 victory over Djibouti. The Sand Eagles leapfrog current African champion Senegal, who also won their second group game and handed Kenya another whooping. Senegal's 11-0 victory over the East Africans made a total 24 goals, 17 less than Nigeria over 2 games played. However, for the Eagles, they have conceded 6 goals, while Senegal are the only team yet to be breached. Next up in Group B is a top-of-the-table clash between Senegal and Nigeria today at Santa Maria Beach Park. Since 2007, the two have clashed 8 times in the African Nations Championship, but Senegal have enjoyed dominance over their West African neighbors, winning the last 5 meetings between them. Nigeria last defeated Senegal in the 2009 final of the Beach Soccer Cup of Nations. As part of activities to arrive the 100 per days in office of the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Engineer Abdullah A. Sule set up an 11-man committee has been constituted and inaugurated for the organization of sporting events to mark the occasion. Performing the inauguration at the conference hall of the State Deputy Governor's Office today, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor, Honorable Kwanta Yakubu, told members of the committee thus, in view of His Excellency poised to be youth and sports friendly, you have been carefully selected to serve as members of the committee for the organization of sporting activities to mark the 100 days in office of the administration of His Excellency Engineer Abdullah A. Sule, Executive Governor of Nasarawa State. This 11-member committee, which is made up of seasoned technocrats, shall among many others organize various sporting activities across the state with a view to fishing out young talents to mark the celebration of this administration 100 days in office. You are also to profile long-term solutions to sports development in the state, which will help to lift the image and integrity of the state and its people. The terms of reference for the committee shall include identifying and mapping out various sporting events with a view to sporting new talent across the state. Submit a model detail plan and budget for events within 2 weeks. Co-opt other persons, subcommittees for the purpose of effective planning and execution of the event, and carry out any other tasks incidental to the assignment and times of reference in review. The SSA further gave the committee on or before 5th of July 2019 to submit its report. In his remarks, the chairman of the committee, who is also an area education inspectorate officer, Akwanga Elder Talks Adeoye Moses, said the committee's inauguration came at the right time to properly engage the youth meaningfully and revamp sports in the state. He pledged that his committee will effectively and efficiently abide by the stipulated terms of reference and date. And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Ogutimeyin to the Ogutimeyin.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
And that is it for the news, but before we go, a recap of our top stories. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has told French investors that Nigeria is open for business and he is inviting them to take advantage of the enabling environment in the country to do business. Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, has again called for the legalization of cannabis cultivation in Nigeria to tap from its potential impact on economic growth. U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday approved retaliatory military strikes against Iran, but later changed his mind and halted the attacks that were already on the way. That's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV. Like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online. Follow us on Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Nigecomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Rose Audu. Many thanks for watching.